Hi, I'm Porter Brooks, and this is Porter Brooks Cooks. Today I'm going to go back to some of my southern roots. Now, I was not born in the South, but all of my grandparents were, so I definitely remember some really great flavors growing up. And I want to start with something that there's really not a recipe for this. It is kind of a peasant food, and it's what I call an instant grit corn souffle. And you know, my rule on souffles is always the same, and that is that if it rises and it's perfect, we call it a souffle. If it falls, it's a custard or a pudding. First of all, we're just going to use a grated Romano cheese. There you are. Hope you can see that. And then a can of cream corn, whichever brand you like. And look, this one was 50% off because there was a dent in the can. So we'll use that as well. These are actually excellent. These are like the individual oatmeal packages, but they are a really good instant grit. Whenever it calls for water, I want you to go ahead and use milk. So let's see, let me move in there, and we're just going to do 2 whole eggs. Oh, look how yellow those yolks are. I like to always get my eggs going just a little bit, and I think I'll use whole milk in this. So we are going to want to heat it up a little bit, and the way I'm going to do that is just use the microwave. I'm going to go ahead and get this heating, and because I'm kind of in a hurry and I don't want to worry about the scald, I'm just going to pop it in the microwave. I just found the bacon in the microwave, so I'm sure my house is just like yours. Alrighty, so we'll open up the cream corn. Can opener's in the drawer and I can't get my hands on one. And I'm going to add just a touch of milk, but let's get this out. I'm going to put the milk in the can so I get all the goodness. So that is a, let's see guys, it's a 14, almost a 15 ounce can. I want a little bit of milk just to pull that out. Make sure that all the goodness is gone out of there. And then we are finished with that. Okay, I don't want a lot of flavor in here. The cheese is going to bring all the salt. Quite honestly, any type of product in a can, unless it specifically says low sodium, it's going to be pretty salty. So we can come back to that a little bit later. Anything would go in here. You can even do cheddar, sliced cheddar. It's a little harder to get it to melt, and the additional fat tends to make the souffle fall a little bit. So this is kind of a hack on a souffle. I'm just going to put in about a cup of any grated Romano, Parmesan, anything like that. This does not have to be high-grade stuff, guys, so you can use the store-bought, and we'll see how that's kind of coming together here. Now, we could have mixed all of this together and then added the corn last because it's more chunky and it's definitely harder to get things going. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I work with a whisk. Typically a smaller whisk. Sometimes we get things stuck in there, but I usually don't worry about it. All right, I heard the microwave. So at this point, I have some warm milk, which is just going to help our grits. I'm doing a package per person, and always just a little bit more. So let's sprinkle these, not that evenly, sprinkle these as evenly as possible. If you do the box grits, the issue is that you're going to have to cook them down in a separate pan. Then you're going to have to take the cooked grits and put them into here. So one of the great things about the instant is that it's already ready, meaning at the mouth, right? The cooked ones are just going to taste like eating grain or gravel. So the instant really does help, and they have a little butter flavoring in here. I know it's kind of a hack, but it really does work on this. So I'm going to slowly add some of my milk, because the grits is gonna need that. Where are all my grammar pros out there? And we're gonna need a wooden spoon pretty quick. All right, right now, I'm feeling like this is a little loose, meaning a little liquid. So I'm gonna hold off on a lot of that milk. I think the corn and the eggs have given us a little bit more liquid. And we actually want this to pour in fairly thick. All right, 2 more. I guess I could have had these ready, but I just want to show you how I do it. By the way, there is not necessarily a recipe for this. I'll go ahead and transcribe it, maybe put it on my website for you. It's a simple corn grit. It could be a corn grit cake. It could be a corn grit pudding. Everybody kind of had their own. You can also do this and serve it in a 9x13 Pyrex. If you didn't see that at a church social or a neighborhood barbecue as a kid, I promise you it was there. And a lot of people like to kind of take the flavor element of this, or I do at least, and you can move it to any flavor that you want. I always like to teach flavor, and by that I mean this is a basic corn base, right? So let's say we wanted to go to a Latin flavor. Well, we could go to green chilies, we could go to cumin, we could go to oregano, we could go to chili powder. All of a sudden we're gonna have like a tamale pie. If we wanted to take something more Mediterranean, think of more like a polenta, and we could add things like in France, we could add like some herbs de Provence, of course, garlic, if you really want to get fancy. Okay, so I had 8 out. I'm gonna go with 6, and I really think 6 is gonna do it for me. All right, 6 envelopes of instant grits. They're on any shelf. You're gonna find them in the breakfast, by the oatmeal, by the Malto-meal. That's where you're gonna find that. And that oat company that we all know. Okay, this is looking perfect to me. I have my warm milk on the side if I'm gonna need it. Cheese is there, no dark peppers in any way, shape, or form. You could use some white pepper if you want, but I just want this to taste like corn. So let's go with just some ramekins. They're handy, they're probably not gonna match. All right, so we have some ramekins. Anytime we do a souffle, I don't care what they say, we're not gonna do butter, we're not gonna do the flour, we're not gonna do the powdered sugar, we're gonna use cooking spray, so. All right, so I just grabbed, if you care, right, I do like this brand. I love this brand. This is only the olive oil. I also like the brand that has the flour in it. So, I mean, I know there are purists of you out there, but this is how I cook. First of all, there's nothing that I don't spray. Of course, we've all seen this. Store-bought versions are just fine. And we want to just give all of those a hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 for me. I'm just gonna grab a white one. Of course, the host always gets the worst one, right? Okay, so that'll just save us a little bit. Now, I just wanna point out, look how thick this has gotten. What's happening is the grits are opening up there, and I wanna loosen that up. So I'm gonna need a wooden spoon, and I also know that I'm going to need a ladle at some point. I'm gonna show you these. This is a set of 3, by the way, and I'll put the link down there. You should always have these pre-measured. If you look right on here, this is a 3 ounce. This is it's a 1, and then I have a 6 and an 8. So we know that these are 4 ounce ramekins, so I'm probably gonna use my 3 and see exactly where it takes me. All right, also I'll put a link to these. These are Porterbrooks Home, these beautiful almond cooking tools. So we're back to our milk, and I'm just gonna try to break this up a little bit. It probably will all go in there at the end of the day. Just kind of bring it from the sides. I love entertaining with this dish, and then having it the next morning. It makes the most incredible chunky corn pancakes, griddle cakes some people call them. All right, that's doing a lot better. More or less. I kind of think it's where we are. All right, I think we're there. So that worked out beautifully. All right, so 1 ounce, 3 ounce, make your life easy. Pick it up and drop it in. So you don't want a whole lot on the top of a souffle because it's going to weight it down, and you don't want a lot of fat on the top because the fat's going to come through and it's going to try to weight it down. Let me see if you can see that. There we go. But because I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit more of our store-bought, down and dirty, on sale Parmesan mix, and these are going to go into the oven. These are going to hold in the refrigerator. If you want to cover them, they'll hold up to probably 3 days. And then they're just going to go in. You can see behind me, well, I have all these big ovens. Honest to gosh, I almost never turn those on anymore. But I love a high quality toaster oven. I use the Wolf. You can get them from $35 at the box stores all the way up to $700, $800. You really don't need to be that fancy with it. But what I love about it is that it's a small container, right? It's a small oven, and the heat is extremely intense. I always use a convect cycle 2, which not only reduces the time by about a third, but it also just gives a little bit of rice. So these are going to set aside right now. I don't want them chilled down. They need to go in at room temperature because I don't want to mess with it. But I don't know. We'll probably do 325 for maybe 20 minutes. We'll look at it, see if they're rising up, and that'll be that. So, okay, first one out. That is our Southern corn custard. It's cheesy, like I am, sorry. But if you like it, please, 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 please like, subscribe. I'm Porter Brooks. Follow me at theporterbrooks. I love being from my home for you guys. And yeah, that's it. If you want to see more of this, I sure appreciate it. So like, subscribe, and I'll see you with the next recipe. I'm Porter Brooks. Have a great day. Bye, guys.